Hey everybody, welcome to Ask a Realtor Anything. This is episode 19 and we are talking about money today again. So like I said last week, we were kind of briefly given a synopsis of what and where the money goes. And this week we have a little bit of graphics that are going to help us out so that we can clearly see where the money goes. And also, if there are any realtors out there watching, please help us critique to make sure that the information is correct and accurate. So without further ado, let's get on to the first slide. So up first, the very first slide at the very top, we have the seller on the left, and the seller is going to pay the seller's brokerage firm, and they're also going to pay the buyer's brokerage firm. And then below that, you can see what happens to the money with the buyer's broker. He's going to pay him or herself. And then they're going to pay the buyer's agent. And then the seller's broker is going to pay him or herself. And the seller's broker is also going to pay the seller's agent. So you can kind of see that 4% to 8%, depending on what the contract was when they listed the house, whenever the seller's broker listed that property, whatever they decided on, portions of that money are going to go to both sides here, and it comes from the seller's proceeds. Now, there are a lot of things that can happen in here, so this is just one of the general ways that it does happen. So you could maybe have a seller that represents themselves, so they may not have a seller's broker, so that might go away. Or if it's a for sale by owner and somebody else is buying it and they don't have representation, then both of these go away. But I caution on that because they better know what they're doing. So there are a lot of things that can go in and out of here, and the money can flow from one hand to the other, or wherever it needed to go to process the transaction. But this slide shows the typical way a property is sold and then where the proceeds go from it. On the very next slide, now you can see a arrow that just kind of shows where the buyer's money goes. So we all saw that the seller pays everybody, okay? But the buyer is really the one bringing the purchase price or the purchase amount. So the buyer's bringing all the money, the buyer's paying the seller for the property, and the seller is going to pay everybody else. Now, sometimes that doesn't really happen that way if the seller doesn't want to pay a buyer's agent or something like that, if it's a for sale by owner. Okay, so this is the typical here though. Buyers bring the purchase money, they bring the purchase loan, or they bring the entire purchase amount, and then they pay the seller, and then the seller does pay everyone else. So that's kind of a flow chart of how it really goes. So it's one big revolving circle. So sometimes you have buyers that don't really know the process. So they always think that, oh crap, I can't hire an agent because then I'm going to have to pay them their fee. Well, indirectly they're paying it, but it's through the purchase price that the seller's already come up with. So the seller has already deemed it ready for them to pay a buyer's agent. So everything's already worked in. All right, so that's a little bit about where the money goes and how agents get paid. And if you guys have any questions about more in-depth processes like those, or where some of the money goes from the buyer side, broker side, or whatever the case may be, I can go into more depth about that. But just ask the question. There's no stupid question on Ask a Realtor Anything. Just let us know what you want to talk about, and we'll try to get the best information we can. So thanks for watching Ask a Realtor Anything. This was episode 19, and always like and share the video, and come on back and see us anytime.